Ghost Report, happy Thursday. How is everyone doing? What is up? Nerd Report, Tammy, Mushroom, Brandy, Jennifer Marie, Delia Lux, Becky Bum, Rio Chap, Anne. From earlier today, Julissa, D Nice, Jackie, Dusty, BMW, Lisa Boo, Trixie, Slayer Selection, Nerd Report. What is up, guys? How's everyone doing? While we wait for people to trickle in, how was your week so far? Did you guys watch anything spooky before we get into the nitty gritty? I've actually kind of been busy, so I haven't been able to watch anything spooky wooky lately. I need to get back on track with that. I'm so behind on a lot of my programs. There were things I was going to catch and I haven't watched yet. Nerd Report says press 1 if you are new here. Emily, what is up? I think there's a whole bunch of programs I've been wanting to see and I haven't. I'm hoping our friends out in Florida are okay. I heard a bunch of people lost their power, but in general they're okay. Patrick, I'm glad you were okay. I survived Hurricane Milton. The hurricane didn't scare. It was the record number of tornadoes to touch down real close to me. I saw that, but I am glad you were okay, Patrick. I'm glad Matthew chimed in on my Discord to say he was okay, that his power went out. I know someone else's power went out as well, so I'm glad that it seems like everyone made it through Milton, and I'm glad you guys are safe. That is scary. Carol, what is up? Joanne, how's it going? Anyone have any plans for Halloween? Matthew! My power came on minutes before the stream started. I kind of figured you might not make it, but I'm glad you were here, Matthew, and I'm glad you were safe. Anybody have plans for Halloween before I get into the nitty gritty here? We'll wait a few more minutes. Excuse me, guys. Joanne goes get candy for the kids. I don't have any plans. I know I'm probably going to be streaming. I don't know which streaming I'm going to do, but I'm going to be streaming. Patrick goes, why aren't there any new paranormal shows on? It's making me mad. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of Zach Bagans. He's the most hated paranormal investigator in the land. I like to say it, but he does have a show on Max. It's called Destination of the Damned or something like that. Kind of interesting. They kind of dig into like folklore, which is kind of what I like to talk about, kind of what I talk about here, but they actually go to the places because they have the budget to do so. It's kind of interesting, but not like there's no actual paranormal show. I think Ghost Hunters is still looking for a home, so I'm not sure when they're going to come back. D Nice goes, my uncle went back to the Tampa area from Miami. He shared pictures. A couple trees landed on their fence. He sent me a pic of their dogs happy in their bed. I am glad your uncle is safe as well. Emily, we're going to have a kiddo party for the grandkids. That sounds fun for Halloween. Patrick was watching it earlier. I'm still watching it. I'm on the very last half of the 5th episode. I'm at, where am I at? The asylum in Italy is where I'm at. But if you guys want to check that out, it's actually kind of interesting. I didn't have high hopes for it, but I kind of was like, hey, this is kind of like right up my alley. And it is on Max, if you guys have Max. And of course, there's Salem's Lot. I've got this long list of stuff that I got to catch up on. There's Salem's Lot, which is the Stephen King adaptation on Max as well. There's Teacup. which is on Peacock. I think it came out today, if I'm not mistaken. There's so many. There's Mousetrap. There's Honey Pooh Blunt and Honey Electric Boogaloo Part 2. There's I know Trapped is gonna come out October 25th. I saw that Alien's gonna come to VOD. Alien Romulus is coming to VOD. I'm not sure when it's gonna come to Hulu, but the article didn't say. For those that want to catch some of the newer releases that are just coming out right now, because I'm kind of the girl. I don't know if you guys. I'm like the watch. I'm the girl that likes to watch movies in the comfort of my own home on the couch. You don't have to worry about people kicking the back seat or your chair or popcorn being thrown at you. Not that anybody has popcorn thrown at them, but or somebody up front that tends to has to check their cell phone no matter what. I like crypto. How's it going? Hell yeah, Bloomfield, Pennsylvania or in Pittsburgh has a Halloween parade every year. Tom Savini lives across the street from me. My coworker loved Salem Blot. That is super cool. Bernadette just got off of work now. Oh my god, I feel ya. Julissa, what is up? I am doing good. And if you guys happen to have Twitch, I am also on Twitch as well. If you guys prefer watching on Twitch, I'm on Twitch as well. Bernadette has dropped the link. Just another place you can catch me in case something happens here on YouTube, because YouTube likes to be pesky sometimes. All right, guys, before I get into the Aswang, which is a Filipino folklore, folk legend. If you've been, I know there's a lot of new people here. I do a lot of paranormal, strange and unusual, UFOs, aliens, true crime, just a little bit. I did a stream on the Menendez brothers, about a couple weeks ago. So if you guys want to catch that one out, it's up, but I do have an article. I need to fish. How's it going? Lisa Boo, thank you for that super sticker of the fitness pair. Hearts for Lisa Boo. Thank you, Lisa Boo. I appreciate that. Also, too, guys, Carol, if you have Discovery cable, I don't have cable. Destination the Dam is also on there every Wednesday, but I think it's probably an episode a week, right, Carol? If you have Max or Discovery Plus, I believe you get the whole thing all at once. Patrick goes, I'm pretty much permanently banned on most social platforms. I'm a little outspoken. Okay. Could be a good thing. Excuse me, guys. Could be a good thing or could be a bad thing. Thank you, D-Dice. I do have, before we get into that, the Aswang. And for me, I don't know, when I read the legend of an Aswang, I always think of it as a female, but it could be anything that disguised itself as a human. But I figure my idea of the Aswang is a female. I don't know why, because I feel like a beautiful young lady walking down the street, a man happens to be seeing this beautiful young lady, decides to follow it, and then finds out that it's something completely different. I love those kind of stories. I've talked about these many of times. I've talked about the slith mouth woman. I've talked about, there's so many. Emily, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, Emily. Hearts for Jackie, Paul, Joanne or Johan, Bobby, Baby Love. Welcome to the Wolf Pack. Hearts for Emily as well. But guys, do you ever wondered, because I had spoken about the Menendez brothers, and how we have a district attorney here in Los Angeles, I had spoke about in a previous stream. He's a little soft. He's decided, because of the Netflix documentary, if you haven't caught it, it is still on Netflix. There's also another one that I need to catch, that came out October 7th about the Menendez brothers as well. I think that's more in their own words, where they interview the Menendez brothers, which I need to catch. But he wants to re-examine the case. And if you're not familiar with Gascon, he is a little soft. A lot of people don't like him here in LA. I personally don't either. He's known to give people a slap in the wrist. He gives people chances. I don't know if it's because of his background, where he came from, maybe some things that he saw that makes him more accepting and more, wanting to give people a chance. But crime is up because of it. A lot of people, the crimes that used to have a harsher punishment now have a lenient punishment. So it makes me think that this time it's possibility that they are going to be let go for the time spent in prison. I believe they've been in prison for 30 years. I don't know what to believe, because we're only hearing their side of the story. Unfortunately, their parents were could not say anything because of what happened. So I'm kind of 50-50 when it comes to that. The Netflix show, the monster one, Ryan Murphy took liberties, and I feel like a lot of those shows do, which I understand, because they're trying to make it interesting, trying to make it to their vision, which I get it. So it's kind of hard for me to believe what actually happened and what didn't. It's a well-known case here in LA. I was in high school when it was going on. I do remember them. I remember that case being on TV all over the news over and over again. But what happened to their house? I do know that their house has, because of the Netflix show, the house has a fence around it, because I think they are doing construction to the house. And also there's a lot of hype, so there's people going to the house. Let me get my article up. So what happened to the house? It's a beautiful house. I feel like, though, would you guys live in that house knowing, if you had the money to purchase that house, I will let you know how much it's worth. But if you guys had the money to purchase that house, would you purchase that house knowing what happened in that house? I don't think I would. I feel like if someone dies violently in the house, a lot of times their spirit stays in the house. That is my belief. Doesn't necessarily have to be yours, but that's what I believe in. I feel like the spirits, because of their untimely death, are somehow possibly stuck in that house, or something else could be stuck in the house. So I would not want to buy it. Bernadette is brave. If it's on sale, I would. I mean, it's a beautiful house, though. But I don't think I would. Trixie says yes. Heather Salvatore! I just want to give a shout out to Heather Salvatore, guys. She sent me a very generous PayPal the other day. It made my day. So I want to give a huge shout out to Heather Salvatore. Hearts for Heather, guys. Thank you, Heather. And it's good seeing you in the chat. I know you're on the East Coast, I believe, so it's kind of hard for you to make it. So I understand, but I'm glad that you are here tonight. So the Beverly Hills, California home where Lyle and Eric Menendez murdered their parents in 1989 has been owned by several people in the decades since. On the evening of August 20th, 1989, Lyle and Eric Menendez, armed with pew-pews, walked through the front doors of their family Beverly Hills mansion to find their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, watching TV in the den. The brothers pew-pewed their parents a total of 13 times, Jose 8 times and Kitty 5 times. There was brain matter and blood dripping from the ceiling. The bodies were in terrible shape. Huge pew-pews do horrible damage to a human body, author Robert Rand said in the 2024 Netflix documentary The Menendez Brothers. Back in the 80s, Beverly Hills was maybe the safest place in America, according to Alan Abrahamson, a reporter of the LA Times, who also appeared in the Netflix doc, and living in the 90210 zip code was the stuff of dreams. The Menendez family owned a 9,063 square foot Mediterranean style estate, which they purchased for $4 million in 1988. $4 million back then is probably double that, or triple that, quadruple that now. Following the infamous murder, oh my god, it clicked onto something else. I hate when that. Following the infamous murder, the house has changed hands 4 times. Most recently, it sold for $17 million in March of 2024. Unfortunately, it is not up for sale. So what else has happened to the Menendez family's former home in the past 30 years? Here's everything to know about the Beverly Hills mansion where Lyle and Eric Menendez murdered their parents. When did the Menendez brothers live in the house? I mean, it's obvious. What? Thank you, I Like Crypto, for joining the Wolf Pack. Thank you. Hearts for I Like Crypto. Shelly, how's it going? The home was originally built in 1927. However, the Mendez family, who has been living in Calabasas, California, didn't purchase the home until 1988. Jose bought the mansion from real estate mogul Mark Slotkin for $4 million per realtor.com. Under Slotkin's ownership, the house underwent a significant renovation in 1974. The rebuild resulted in 9,063 square feet of living space, which featured soundproof rooms. Slotkin testified to the fact of the defense during Lyle and Eric's Menendez murder trial, casting doubts on a maid who claimed she had heard the family screaming arguments on numerous occasions, because according to him, which I did not know, that it had soundproof rooms. The Menendez family abruptly moved to Beverly Hills after Eric and Lyle were involved in a string of burglaries. According to Vanity Fair, reporter Dominic Dunn, the brothers stole more than $100,000 in money and jewels from 2 houses in the Calabasas area. Eric, who was a minor at the time, took the fall and only received probation. If you guys haven't seen the Monster Show, they do I felt like, what does this have to do with the price of tea in China? But they did focus on Dominic Dunn in it a little. I felt like a little too much. Because they also told his story. If you're not familiar with Dominic Dunn, his daughter was in Poltergeist, and she was also murdered by her boyfriend, if I'm not mistaken. So they kind of did a little stint about that in there. Maybe trying to paint a picture of who Dominic Dunn was is why maybe they told his story. I am not sure. Where is the Menendez brothers' house? The infamous home is located on Elm Drive in Beverly Hills for anybody that wants to go visit. According to Vanity Fair, prior tenants include Prince, Elton John, Hal Prince, and a Saudi prince. The Mediterranean-style estate, which includes a detached guest house, boasts 7 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms. I don't know what I would do with that many rooms. And bathrooms. That's just like too much house. The property, according to a listing on realtor.com, is an oasis for the ultra-wealthy with a private tennis court, pool, rose gardens, and a wine cellar with a tasting room. The listing also notes the grand entry with a dramatic circular staircase, imported Italian limestone flooring, and a gourmet kitchen complete with high-end appliances and a walk-in pantry. What happened to Menendez brothers' house after the murders? After the murders of Jose and Kitty, Lyle and Eric lived in various hotels in the Elm Drive mansion until they were arrested in 1990. A year later, the home was sold to an undisclosed buyer for 3.6 million. Then in 1993, William Link, who co-created the hit murder mystery show Murder She Wrote, purchased the mansion for an undisclosed sum and lived there for 8 years. Link sold the home in 2021 or 2001 for 3.7 million to telecommunications executive Sam Deluge. How much is the house worth today? The Menendez former home made headlines in March of 2024 when Deluge sold the estate for a whooping 17 million. The mansion listed by Amy Vertune of Rodeo Realty initially hit the market at 19,999,500 in December of 2023. Strategic property analytic president Aurel Anderson told Realtor.com that the house sold for roughly 25% below market value. It really is the bad voodoo that comes in when buying a house to live in with your family that can creep out people, he said. There tends to almost always be a discount, but sometimes it's purchased by people who are not bothered by these things, which is true. Some people don't believe in the paranormal, so they don't care what happens in the house and they'll live in the house no matter what. There are some people that, knowing that that happens, they're going to think there's bad juju and they don't want anything to do with it. So which I don't blame them. And also too, I don't know if it had the stairway directly in front of the. Oh, no, it was a little bit over. I was gonna say, if the stairway was directly in front of the door, a lot of people won't buy it either because they feel like that the staircase is the home to their house, and that could when you open the door, it can let spirits in. So there's a number of things, that people I personally probably wouldn't care. I don't know if I would want to live in a house where someone was murdered. Um, but I mean, obviously, if you walk in the house and you don't feel anything, don't hear anything, I don't see anything wrong with it. Some people will be like, yes, let's go for it. Because they like that kind of thing. Some people don't, believe in it. So they're like, it's a full of baloney. Like, who cares? Jennifer Marie, what is up? Heather Salvatore, I agree with you. A small house is a pain to keep clean. So imagine having 9 bathrooms. Jennifer Marie goes for advice, buy a ranch style single story home, just like I did. No stress there. Yeah, you don't want something like with 50 bedrooms and 20 bathrooms. I mean, honestly, if it's just you living in the house, I wouldn't think it would get that dirty, but their trial is set for November, I believe, so we'll find out then. Um if they are going to continue their sentence or if they are going to be released with time served or serve a little more and then be released. We will find out, but I have a hankering that because of Gascon's history that it's a possibility that they will be set free. And I know there's a lot of people cuz I've seen the comments about uh that had watched that documentary and they believed everything from that documentary, and I kind of don't. And they all, like, every comment I read wants them to be freed, including Kim Kardashian. So um I feel like, say that did happen to him, I feel like, yeah, that shouldn't have happened to him, that sucks, but I feel like that killing your parents is a little too far. I know there's a lot of us that have gotten mad at our parents a million times. I know I have. Um, but I never thought to do what they thought to do. And I get it when you're in a situation like that where you feel like you have no way out, that would take you that direction, but I still feel like I feel like a normal person wouldn't take it that far, you know what I mean? Nerd Report saying Grayson Report, my favorite. Heather Salvatore, it's just a recap. Bernadette goes, I still believe the Kardashians are aliens. Oh, yes, there was the Peterson case too as well. That's you know what? I'm going to talk about that on another. You know what? You gave me an idea, Jennifer Marie. That's for next one. You gave me an idea. Nerd Report goes, I feel like they just wanted their parents' money. I mean, it seems like that to me because as soon as they went on a spending spree, they bought cars, they bought clothing, they bought expensive things. Who would do that after after doing away with their parents? You know what I mean? It doesn't. I mean, if I did something like that, I'd probably be in shock. I wouldn't go and take their money and go on a spending spree. So that's what makes it a little suspicious with me. Shelly goes, what if the Menendez brothers are right about their dad? It sucks, but I feel like it shouldn't have been taken that far. Nerd Report goes, it's what they wanted. People are rewriting history and making them a victim. I feel like what we talked about when I spoke about this in a previous stream, a lot. I know a few of you had said like justice should be served, or that shouldn't have been taken that far. Like even if that did happen, it shouldn't have been that far. Like they could have told someone. They could have and I know I've seen enough of those programs, and I've heard the stories about a lot of people in those situations where they're in an abusive relationship or an abusive situation and they're scared to leave, but eventually they end up telling someone, um and that's how they end up getting out of the situation. So I feel like they should have said something. Bernadette, that's what the shopping spree thing was like. It wasn't even like they were grieving, you know what I mean? Angel, what is up? Daniel, how's it going? Glad you can make it. And I feel like too, you're old enough at a certain age to know what's right from wrong. So you do know that doing what they did is wrong. And especially because I believe they were what, 19 and 21 or something like that, 18 and 21, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel like you do at that time, anybody knows at that time what's wrong from right. And I agree with you, Emily. They were old enough to leave or fight back, but don't plan the demise and then go shopping. Yeah, they were old enough to leave. They could have just left. They could have just walked, but they didn't. They could have found some friends to stay with for a couple days or something. They could have. Cuz usually if we don't like what we move or we go out on our own. Jennifer Burry goes, if they left though, how would they have gotten their money? That's what makes me suspicious about them because of the spending spree. That is the one thing that makes me completely suspicious about them, is that. Because if I, like I said earlier, if I did something like, it's not like I would ever do anything like that, but if I were in that position and I had done that and realized what I did, I would probably, um, it would bother me. I wouldn't have gone, it would bother me. I would not go on a spending spree. I'd probably lock myself in a room and be in shock. Like, what the hell did I do? Like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? Carol goes, they could have said something, but no one believed. I heard of things like that happening too, but they could have left it all behind. I think they stayed because of the money. And that's what I think a lot of people believe. But at the same time, a lot of them believe what they saw on the Netflix show, The Monsters. So it's not realizing that Ryan Murphy took some liberties with the story. So it's, I don't know what's real or what's not. And also, too, like I said, it's one sided. So unfortunately, Kitty and Jose Menendez isn't here to tell their side of the story. Jennifer Marie goes, if what they alleged about their mother knowing and turning a blind eye is true, I could see why they thought no one else would care. If the portrayal of the mother is exactly how they did on the Netflix show, I can totally believe why people would be on their side. Because they made her seem like a mother that did not give a damn about anybody but herself. So, um, but I don't know. That's just based on, I don't know where they got, maybe by what the boys had told them, or the Menendez brothers had told them. I don't know. But that's how they portrayed her. And then it was like, okay, well, yeah, she's a bee. She didn't care. She shouldn't have had her kids in the first place. But I don't know if that's how she was. I like crypto. Oh my God. Thank you for that generous super sticker with the fitness, the Godzilla fitness pair. Hearts for I like crypto. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Jennifer Marie goes, the brothers insist she knew and didn't care, but their uncle, Kitty's brother, is very insistent. She would never ignore abuse, so who knows? Exactly. We're never gonna know. Um, that's the sad thing. But I can see why people are on their side by watching that show. Because they painted her like she shouldn't have had kids in the first place type of person. Um, like she was kind of all she cared about was herself. Like she was a victim herself. She felt threatened by the boys type of thing. And then they painted him, Jose Menendez, as a father that was very hard on his sons, which that, a lot of us, I'm not saying a lot of us have parents like that, but I had a parent that was very had high expectations of me, so I know how that can be. It's very stressful. It puts a lot of it puts a lot on you when you have a parent like that, because then you're like, oh my God, what if I don't get an A? What if I don't? Because I had a parent like that. But I know they wanted the best for me. They didn't want me, they wanted to push me in school so I could be the best. So I get it. I get it. That could make you feel like no one cares about you. Like all they care about is your what you're doing in school, like your performance, like this or whatever you may be. So I get that, like why people could be on their side because of how they were painted. Emily Parkinson's, I think they just went by what the boy said. If other adults knew what was happening, then why didn't they do anything? Exactly. I agree. Why didn't anybody say anything? No one said anything. Carol goes, it's like no one will talk. of the dead. It happens all the time. They say the person who's dead was a saint. Exactly. Like we'll never know because they're not here to say their side of the story. We're never know. The way they were painted were like they were horrible people. Um, but we won't know that side. You know what I mean? So it's kind of it makes me a little suspicious. Angel goes, watching the real brothers testify is insane. It was. Chris, what is up? Glad you can make it. Better late than never, Chris. But like I said, I feel like they will be set free. This is my opinion only because of Gascon's record. He is very soft. And a lot of people, like I said earlier, a lot of people don't like him because of that. And also too because crime is up in this area, especially my city here that I live in here in SoCal. About every other day there's a burglary, there's a car being broken into, there's people, businesses, like we have a lot of small businesses here and they're being broken into, where their front windows glass is being broken into, their cash register taken. So I mean, because there are no um consequences for crimes like there used to be, so these people are like, oh, I could do this and not serve any jail time. Like, why not? So I mean, it's sad. Julissa goes, and it's possible they were terrible parents, but murdering is never okay. Exactly. Like it's possible that they were horrible parents, but they went too far. I feel like they could have told someone, they could have said something. I mean, I guess there's a letter that popped up that one of the brothers had written to their cousin that kind of depicts what was happening to him. But then why didn't the cousin say anything to anybody? You know what I mean? Dusty goes, is anyone coming out in support of the parents? Someone who knew them personally might know more about that. I'm not sure. I don't know if any of you guys have heard anything. I haven't heard anything. I've not um caught. I know there's other documentaries out there that I have not seen yet that I want to watch. But I haven't personally seen anything. I could be mistaken. There could be um people that knew the parents that are coming forward. I don't know. Heather Salvatore goes, FBI says crimes are down. Not the way I have a crime, it's called the Citizens app, and the way it beeps at me every day, especially if I'm in the LA area, like Los Angeles, every like 5 minutes it's beeping. Assault, car accident, guy running naked down the street. Yes, there was one like that. I'm not kidding. Stabbing, like you name it. In fact, this town I live in, it's inland more. It's in the San Gabriel Valley a little bit. And someone stabbed someone down the street from here because they had an argument. So people are going crazy. And then Chris lives in another state and had her car stolen. So I know it's not just happening here in SoCal, it's happening everywhere. Jennifer Marie goes, if they didn't overspend and acted devastated, they probably would have gotten away with it. Probably. I feel like they would have, but it's just that act of spending makes them super sus. Bernadette, I agree. Letting people get away like that with no arrest is a crime in itself. Yes, and that's why a lot of people want to vote him out. D Nice goes, yeah, Lisa, megaphones blasting this morning and people yelling. It's people. It's also too. It's because everything has gone up in price. So I feel like that has something to do with it. How people act as well nowadays, because of inflation. That causes people because of stress and trying to figure out how to put food on the table. So that causes people to act a little crazy. Unfortunately, it is the sign of the times right now. Daniel, oh my gosh, I've seen 2 people get stabbed in my life. One was absolutely horrible. Oh my gosh, Daniel, I hope you do not see another one of those again, and I hope that none of you experience that. I have personally not, luckily, but I hope none of us are ever in a situation where we witness that. Um, witness that. Heather Salvatore, yes, we are losing businesses locking stuff behind glass, but crime is low. There is one, I forgot where it was. There's one store. Um, I don't know if it was a Walgreens or CVS, and I don't remember where it. I think it was in the LA area. They have every single thing in that store. I want to say it's a CVS locked up. Every single aisle has a lock cabinet in the entire store. I've never seen that. I mean, I've gone into stores where the entire pharmacy section's locked up behind glass. That is annoying. Um, Especially when you can't find someone to open it. If there was better customer service to those things, it would work, but there's never enough employees to open those cabinets up. And it's usually one person going across the store, which I know because I was in that position. One person going back and forth and the people getting mad. And I'm like, well, I was helping someone else on the other side of the store. So it's sad. I agree, Dusty. That's where I don't understand why no one spoke up. You would think if they weren't horrible people, you'd think someone would speak up. Exactly. Angel goes, I feel like something did take place, but what actually took place, we will never know. I know there were family that cooperated or corroborated this, but murdering is not okay. That's why they will probably get time served. Bernadette goes, if it keeps up like this, I'm moving to Sesame Street. D Nice goes, that's why I don't work public health anymore. Addicts are no joke. Shelly goes, I agree. Murder is never okay. It's not. And the sad thing is, I'm seeing 12-year-olds committing the crime. A 12-year-old. It's sad. Lisa, boo. Wow. The worst I've seen is a decapitation and I still have nightmares. Oh my gosh. I can imagine. That would, oh my God, that would give me nightmares for years. I am so sorry you saw that, Lisa Boo. Jennifer Marie, I agree. They should hire in the stores that they have lock cabinets or lock everything up. They should hire more personal shoppers since they're saving money on losses. I agree. Daniel goes, who do they think they're learning from? Their parents. True. Matthew goes, over 14 years ago, we bought a used car from Chrysler. The employee who sold us the car took off with it. Apparently, he had a gambling problem. We got to keep the car. I mean, at least you got to keep the car. That's cool. Bernadette, I read about a 7-year-old unaliving his 5-month-old sister in an what? In an oven? This world is trash. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. I don't think I heard about that one, but I've heard young children in situations, but not that one. That one's horrible. Emily goes, there was just a 14-year-old girl who unalived her mom and then tried to unalive her stepdad. She was sentenced to life. Wow. 14. I think 12 is the age where they say you're officially able to know what's right from wrong. I could be mistaken. I know way back then it was 12. Um, I think it still is 12 where they consider that, but they have tried 12-year-olds as an adult. Jennifer Marie says kids are learning from older kids. The parents are too busy trying to survive and pay bills. They don't have time or energy to watch their kids enough. I lived in SoCal. I know how it is there. Yes, true. Because unfortunately, it's not like in the 50s where the dad would go off to work, the mom would stay home with the kids, right? It's not like that anymore, where it was uh one car family, one job family. The wife could stay home, cook, clean the house, take care of the kids, was there for the kids. It's not like that anymore. To be able to survive, you got to have you got to have two jobs, and even that nowadays isn't enough. A two income family, and even that, like I said, is not enough. And driving, it's evident, driving through some of the neighborhoods in Los Angeles, because you could see how narrow the neighborhood streets are compared to newer neighborhoods. So that's how I could tell that that neighborhood was built like in the 50s, because in the 50s you didn't have a family that had 5 cars. So now you do. So the narrowness, it's like you got to drive in the middle of the road sometimes to get through these streets, and you got to pull over to let a car come through. That's how narrow some of them are. Here in my neighborhood, this neighborhood was built in the 70s, so it's wider, but I could tell. Whoa, Dusty goes, I had neighbors that would break into my house every time I had to go to town, and they were teaching their kids to steal also. Julissa goes, one income families are still possible. You just need to make sacrifices. True. I know there's still some people that are able to have a one income family, one income household, and be able to be just fine. Bernadette goes, to survive nowadays, you have to work, your partner. You have to work, your partner has to work, your kids have to work, your dog has to work. I know, it seems that way, Bernadette. Matthew goes, yes, the cars also too back then were a lot bigger. Matthew does make a point. The cars were as big as 2 or 3 cars these days. But I feel like the cars back then were tanks, not like they are now. Though, I mean, there you didn't have seatbelts back then either. So some of those, yeah, a lot of those cars don't have seatbelts in them. I mean, obviously now if you do have a classic car, you can add seatbelts into them, but they did not have seatbelts. D Nice goes, this is why my man and I haven't tied the knot yet. Too expensive to even find a house where I need to be. I know there's a lot of people that are married and they live with the in-laws. I know a lot of people do that too. Or they live vice versa. They live with their parents, or they live with their significant other parent. Jennifer Marie goes, I moved to a neighborhood with narrow roads and cars along both sides. It makes me miss SoCal. You get used to it though, Jennifer Marie, because I now I'm like used to driving through those roads in LA. But when I first started, I was like, holy crap, this is narrow. Carol goes, it's like the old adage, spare the rod, spoil the child, or no consequences for their actions from their bad actions. Daniel's like, please hit, when you guys have a chance, please smash that like button. D Nice goes, the Cybertruck is oh, it is. It is. It is. That even if the one thing I like about it is if you ding the door, it won't get dinged. And that's the one thing I hate. Cause you know what I mean? You're trying to take care of your car, and you park like way out there in the parking lot, and then there's one person that happens to park next to you. I don't know why they park next to you, and they decide to open their door and not care and hit your car. and ding it, I have a million of those on my car, and that irritates the hell out of me. Carol goes, yeah, I remember even when I was a kid, Carol, we didn't have to, we could be in the back of a pickup truck. We stood in the back. Carol stood in the back of a pickup truck going down the road. We could sit in the back of a pickup truck. We didn't need helmets for bicycles. As a kid, I used to ride around with no. I still kind of ride around with no helmet. If I'm around the neighborhood, I do. If I go further, I'll put a helmet on. I don't. To be honest with you, I don't even like riding my bike in the neighborhood because just by walking in the neighborhood, how many people speed in this neighborhood and just blatantly just go through the stop signs is crazy. Matthew goes, the seatbelts were options in the late 50s and standard in the 60s. Bernadette goes, my son still has a 76 Cadillac DeVille. He's trying to restore, but the parts are more than the car is worth. Daniel goes, I know someone who has his driver's license says he doesn't have to wear a seatbelt from the army and claustrophobia. Lisa Bugo sitting in the back of a station wagon. Yeah, we could. You could sit. I remember doing that because there used to be a seat way in the back, and you could sit back there. Daniel goes, we had a station wagon with the third back seat that I got to look out the back. Yeah, I was able to do that too. Back window sitting backwards in the Pontiac. Matthew also saying third row seats in station wagons. You got to see the cars, which I thought was cool as a kid. You got to see all the cars. You got to see the driver picking his nose, whatever it might have been. And Daniel goes, and I used to sit in the back of theirs with my friendly ghost George. All right, guys. I know I spoke about the Aswang before, but have any of you heard of the Aswang? Aswang, the shape-shifting Filipino monster that devours humans? That is cute, Daniel. My mom always left a tailgate down so that my ghost friend George could get in also. Julissa, I do agree. There also were a lot less cars on the road and people weren't distracted on their phones, so it was safe. True. Very true. Aswang. Hold on. Hold on. I know I'm going to pronounce it wrong. D nice. Hold on. I was listening to it and I got it. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Because you. Aswang. Aswang. I know I'm gonna butcher it. So I'm gonna change the description of it every time. D nice, I think I do, but also too, you could go on for any of you that always curious about how to pronounce things, you can actually go on YouTube and say, how do you pronounce this? Heather, whatever, what is up? And as I was saying at the beginning of the stream, I picture a Aswang as a female. But that's my interpretation of it. According to Filipino folklore, that I am gonna butcher. Now I'm all self-conscious. The Aswang combines the most terrifying traits of vampires, werebeasts, and witches into a single monster that inspires crippling fear to this day. In the Philippines, a mythical creature called the Aswang combines the horror of a shapeshifter with the most fearsome traits of vampires and werewolves, making this monster the most feared in all of the region's folklore. The word Aswang actually refers to a range of mythical monsters from weredogs to vampires to gruesome viscera suckers. All can change their appearance at will. However, and all hunger for human flesh and blood. At night, it is rumored to prowl villages, use deceptive sounds to confuse its prey with its backward feet and bloodshot eyes. The Aswang unsettling appearance is as terrifying as its hunger for human flesh. Also, too, I want to give a quick shout out to Heather Salvatore for her PayPal. Thank you, Heather. Hearts for Heather Salvatore. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate that. Stories of the Aswang have been passed down for centuries, with written accounts dating back to the 16th century when Spanish colonizers recorded the creature in the Doctrina Christiana. The Aswang comes in various forms, such as the bird-like tick-tick and the man-eating, I'm gonna butcher this one, manana manana man ana nagal, which can split its body and fly. Meanwhile, some historical evidence suggests that fear of the Aswang was used by the Spanish to suppress native spiritual leaders, and even the CIA capitalized on the legend during the Cold War. Real world explanations for the Aswang include misidentified animals, genetic diseases like XDP that cause extreme physical contortions, or a cultural scapegoat for tragedies. Whether as a symbol of fear or supernatural villain, the Aswang continues to be one of the most feared monsters in Filipino folklore. What is this mythical creature, you ask? The trickiest thing about it, Aswang, is that it often disguises itself as a human during the day. It prowls out in the open looking for victims among the human it interacts with, considered to be part vampire, part witch, and part werebeast. The idea that the Aswang could be walking among you without your knowledge is one of the scariest things about this creature. That and the fact that its favorite meal is human flesh, primarily that of children and unborn fetuses. Whenever I read about folklore, it's a lot of them have to do with children. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It has an affinity for the liver and heart in particular. The Aswang allegedly has a proboscis like tongue. Proboscis. It uses to suck out blood, even using it to suck unborn babies out of the mother's womb. At night, the Aswang stalks small villages in the Philippines looking for its next meal. It likes to confuse its prey with a tricky sound similar to a repeated tick. As it gets closer, it gets quieter to fool you into thinking that the creature is getting further away, luring you into a sense of false relief. You may not know when you're near an Aswang during the day, since it's at its weakest state at that time. They're unlikely to attack their victims in broad daylight, so that might explain why they consider them vampiric. As far as the creature's physical appearance, believers stated that it often takes the form of a beautiful young woman with long black hair. However, there are telltale physical signs that the midnight rendezvous with a gorgeous woman may not be as it seems. I feel like that is like the trickiest thing any mythical folkloric creature could take, is that of a beautiful young woman to lure the unbeknownst victim into their arms, type of thing. Aswangs have bloodshot eyes and their feet are often flipped backwards. They reportedly hate loud noises and bright lights, so make sure you have one of those big old fog lamps on your Jeep if you have a Jeep. Bring your DJ equipment because they hate loud noises. If you manage to get a good look at their eyes, your reflection will be upside down. Supposedly, another common way is that the albularios oil, a common herbal remedy in the Philippines, will boil whenever an aswang is near. Emily goes, this wasn't an episode of Grimm. It wasn't a beautiful woman, though. Shelly goes, I don't like no aswang. D Nice goes, this is why I have terrible anxiety. Matthew goes, you could be married to one and then their old mother wants to do that to the firstborn, like in the show Grimm. Ooh. Jennifer Marie, true. How else are us parents supposed to scare our children into compliance? No, Heather Wetter goes, play corn, crank it up. You could play corn where what is it? Are you ready? Then it goes dun, 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 dun. There are allegedly 3 varieties of aswang. The tick tick or wak wak is named for the sound it makes while hunting and turns into a large bird. The sigbin or zigbin appears as something similar to the Tasmanian devil. The 3rd variety is the man anagla. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna try. I know I got it the first time. The man ana nagal, which looks like a woman who can split itself in half and fly like a bat. That would be devastating to see. I would definitely be walking the other way. Running the other way. In 2023, residents of Talasay, Philippines, reported seeing a man ana nagal perched on a house, according to CDN. It frightened some town folks enough to call the police and even seek counseling following the encounter. As described, the night appears to be the time when aswangs are strongest, gaining superhuman strength. They shapeshift and change the appearance of other objects to trick humans. When they take a victim, they supposedly can use an inanimate object to create a doppelganger, which then quickly becomes sick and dies to avoid discovery. It's kind of like the um the body snatcher movie. Except like how they had the like where it was like growing the doppelganger and then they would kill the actual person. Origins of the D-Nices. I know I'm butchering it.
Sorry, manananggal.
Okay, this is how you say it, guys.
Sorry, manananggal.
Mananangol? Mananangol. Thank you, D-Nice. I tried. Origins of the aswang go back to the 16th century when the Spanish conquerors first recorded stories in writing. Juan de Plasencia, a 16th century missionary in the Philippines, described these beliefs in the Doctrina Christiana, the first published book in the Philippines. The distinction made among the priests of the devil were as follows. The 8th they called Oswang, which is equivalent to sorcerer. They say that they have seen him fly and that he murdered men and ate their flesh. The second, Aswang, they called Mangagwa Mangagui. I know I'm butchering this one too. I'm sorry, guys. Or witches who deceived by pretending to heal the sick. Try to say that one over and over again. Mangagaui or Ua. These priests even induced melodies by their charms, which, in proportion to the strength and efficacy of the witchcraft, are capable of causing death. In this way, if they wish to kill at once, they did so, or they could prolong life for a year by binding to the waist a live serpent, which was believed to be the devil or at least his substance. This office was general throughout the land. Stories of the Aswang could stem as far back as the 13th century when Malay people came to the Philippines and brought with them their supernatural beliefs. Their folklore referred to a creature similar to the Aswang called the Benangal. These monsters allegedly also appeared as normal women during the day but had long tongues and fed on mothers and unborn children at night. The Spanish conquerors of the 16th century noted that the people feared the Aswang the most, but they may have been the ones pushing fear of the monster themselves for their own gain. They attached it to the Babylons, who were female spiritual leaders, in an effort to push Christianity. They also attached the monster to women who protested against them when they arrived so they could squash political resistance. Yes, Shelly, say that 3 times fast. I don't think I could say it. I could bear I'm having trouble enough pronouncing it the first time. According to Esquire, the Central Intelligence Agency also took advantage of fear of the Aswang in the Philippines at the height of the Cold War, adding to its long repertoire of bizarre covert operations. That is kind of cool or interesting. At the time, the CIA was desperately trying to subvert communist rebels in the country. Edward Geary Lonsdale, an advertising executive turned CIA operative, concocted a plan to convince Filipinos that communist forces were in league with Aswangs. According to William Blum, author of Killing Hope, U.S. Military and CIA Inventions Since World War II, one of Lonsdale's ideas included flying over communist-controlled areas while broadcasting mysterious curses in Tagalog to anyone in support of the rebel forces. The tactic reportedly succeeded in starving some Hulk units into surrender, Blum wrote. CIA agents also drew a cryptic symbol they called the Eye of God on suspected communist sympathizers. However, their most egregious tactic involved killing communist rebels, piercing their necks to look as though an Aswang attacked them, and leaving their bodies on trial for villagers and other rebels to find. That kind of sucks because they were using the people's beliefs kind of against them for their gain. That sucks. When the Hucks returned to look for missing men and found their bloodless comrade, every member of the patrol believed that the Aswang had got him and that one of them would be next if they remained on the hill. When daylight came, the whole Huck squadron moved out of the vicinity, Lonsdale stated. I mean, it helped them with what they needed done, but at the same time, it kind of tricked the people in the way too. My orders were plain, Lonsdale later said after the operation. The United States government wanted me to give all help feasible to the Philippine government in stopping the attempt by the communist-led Hooks to overthrow the government by force. Early on, I realized that Psy-War had a wider potential than that. Beth, Beth, Matthew Bernadette goes, "Yep, my grandma told us if we didn't listen to her, she knew La Llorona and would call her to come get us. I called her bluff, and once she dressed as her and scared the bejesus out of me. I was 7." Daniel goes, "At least I got corn out of my head." Given that Aswangs are believed to be shapeshifters, animals often were assumed to be Aswangs in a more terrestrial form. The sound that are described as belonging to Aswangs could very easily be birds. Animals such as the Tasmanian devil, bat, and kagwang, a flying lemur, have all been killed because they were thought to be Aswangs in another state. I feel sorry for those animals. Another possibility is a rare genetic disease which primarily affects Filipino men called XDP. This disease causes uncontrollable muscle spasms, tremors, and contortions. Photographs of people experiencing these symptoms are similar to some depictions of Aswangs. The original home of the Aswang is rumored to be the Capiz region, which also has the highest concentration of XDP cases. Another possibility is that the Aswang is the scapegoat for people who commit brutal murders. For people to blame a monster is often easier than reconciling the fact that a fellow human could commit a heinous crime. The tabloids feed into it by attributing crimes to Aswangs to boost their sales, but it also keeps the narrative alive. They've also been used to explain stillbirths and miscarriages in the Philippines. Whether, I mean, it kind of seems like how this is describing it, like they use that folklore as a scapegoat, or as a way um to grieve in a way, because then like taking the blame off of you or off that person, but putting it on a folkloric belief. Whether a story to control people or a monster to be feared, the Aswang is something, truly something out of humanity's darkest nightmares, and something I definitely do not want to come across if I if I ever visit the Philippines. I definitely do not. That seems like a um scary creature that I do not want anything to be a part of. No, I always say this when I talk about these folkloric creatures or cryptids. I always say this one's the scariest. This one, the Aswang, is definitely the scariest, in my opinion. Also, too, I want to give a shout out to Heather, whatever, for your PayPal. Hearts for Heather, whatever, guys. Thank you, Heather, whatever. I really appreciate it. D Dice goes, "It's more fun in the Philippines," is their tagline. It's true. Matthew goes, "I always thought the name Boogeyman funny. I think of something that likes to boogie down and dance." Yeah, because they use boogie for like that the boogie get you to dance or something like that in some songs or something similar to that. I never used the term boogeyman. I mean, I guess I would use it when I was just like kind of like being sarcastic, like, "Oh, the boogeyman's coming," but I never really used it. I know it was used in Halloween. Was that the boogeyman? To describe Michael Myers, but I don't think I've ever used it. Shelly, I agree. It's got the scariest name. Aswang, you don't know what to think. D Nice too. Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas. Oogie Boogie. He's cuddly. I don't consider him scary. Bernadette goes, "I thought the boogeyman was a man that danced disco disco." Matthew goes, The Boogeyman is my favorite Quantum Leap episode. A young Stephen King, Christine, and Cujo. Daniel Miles goes, White Zombie, I'm your Boogeyman. I also found Aswang stories on Reddit. Because I wanted to also read some stories that some people might have had. Um I like Reddit, but sometimes people do not have the gift of telling a story. So it kind of falls short sometimes, but some of them you do find some really interesting stories. And it's Aswang stories and paranormal experiences on Reddit. There's also an Aswang stalked me. There's all different ones, different subreddits for the Aswang, but I chose this one. So it starts off, I'm not one who believes in the paranormal and still don't, but this one experience I had to this day I can't explain. This happened about a decade ago. My family and I were visiting, I'm gonna butcher this, I know, Ilolo from abroad, and staying at my in-laws' house. They owned a large 2,500 SM lot in Molo. It's a long, deep lot with a massive acacia tree on one end of the property. It's the largest acacia tree I've ever seen in a residential area. The canopy of the tree spans the majority of the property. One night we had come back from a party. We came back from a party. It was probably around 1 a.m. and I decided to have a smoke before showering and going to sleep. I'm sitting on the tailgate of a truck parked at the opposite end of the property from this tree. All of a sudden, I felt very cold and my upper back and neck had a tingling sensation. Ahead of me, at the far end of the property, is the base of this massive tree. Mind you, it was dark, but you could clearly see. I saw what looked like the silhouette of a person drop down from the tree. This is probably a 30 to 40-foot drop from the canopy. Thing is, it didn't drop, but slowly floated down. As soon as this happened, my entire body now had this tingling sensation, and I felt like I was frozen. I could not move. The guard dogs started going crazy, barking. They were facing the tree, but refused to run over to the base of the tree. Once the dogs started barking, I was able to move and I walked into the house. As I got close to the door, I could see the two German shepherds run past me and head toward the side of the house. It was if they were running from something. The next day over breakfast, I told everyone at the table what happened to me. My father in law, an old timer who does not believe in the paranormal, laughed and said many years ago there was a helper who quit after a similar experience after only working for the family less than a month. He said it was evening time and she was found screaming in the front porch area of the house. She said she saw a creature drop down from the tree canopy. It ran toward her and she felt what felt like a hand with very long fingernails grab her leg. Another helper heard her screams, turned on the porch light, and came outside. She said she saw what looked like a black shadow just run away and disappear. Like I said, I still don't believe in this type of stuff, but what happened to me that evening, I can't explain. Just typing this makes the hair on my neck stand. Jennifer Murray goes, What exactly were they smoking? D Nice goes, Oh, Ilo. Thank you, D Nice. Ilo. This next person goes, I have a few. They're short, though. These happened in the city. Most Aswang tales come from the Providence, so I wanted to share that this happened in the city, too. When I was about 7 or 8, my sister was just newly born. As I'm the eldest, I was tasked with doing little menial things to help take care of her. One of these being making her milk. It was during me making her milk at around 10 p.m. I felt my skin crawl a bit. I looked over to the living room, then I see it. There, in our living room, a silhouette darker than the night lighting a cigarette or something similar sat on the windowsill. The window is at least 12 feetish above the ground. It scared me so badly I hurriedly made her milk and went back inside. There used to be a lot of children in my house and not a lot of men. My cousins and their mothers used to stay with us during summer to help around the house, and my dad worked overseas. So it was only my grandfather who was around. I vividly remembered being ushered into a room once, all of my cousins and aunts there too, along with my mother and infant sister. My aunt then started placing palm leaf crosses and ginger and garlic on the windowsill of the room. The whole room smelt. They tied ginger and garlic to the clothes of the children and made us all sleep together in the room. The next day I asked, and this is what happened. Apparently, my aunt heard the faint sound of a tick tick and flapping wings in the distance, which meant the Aswang was near us. Do I believe in the paranormal? I don't see any harm in it, so I do have a healthy amount of superstition. I myself only know stories from my family and friends, like lots of them, but I personally don't believe in any of those. Though I grew up in a nearby province very much famous for its aswang. Like, it's the very first thing that comes to mind when people ask me where I'm from. It's a shame it's what our beautiful place is only known for, especially to outsiders. But it's fun to have these stories on camps, sleepovers, and hangouts over a beer or two. My grown ass never had one experience and still to this day have been challenging those myths. I've been to deep jungles, mountains, and remote places, and every time people would tell me this, I would have little banters with them. I had few almost encounters, but always ends up being disappointed. I, for example, had one experience where my ex girlfriend's place, different province, was notoriously famous for Aswan. That one night I stayed with them. Something happened. Her cousin, who just had her baby alone in their house, which was just a few meters from where we are within the family compound, deep into a sugarcane farm. She was calling for help on her mobile phone and told their cousins and uncles that something or someone had been per- pestering her and making violent noises on their roof. To my amusement, I saw our family make a fuss about it and was hurrying toward the house, the said house, with their bolo knives and pointed bamboo trunks. As they passed by my ex girlfriend's house, to my excitement, I tried to follow them outside to join the action, but her mom was pulling me back and stopping me as I should stay inside since I'm not a local and could get myself in trouble. I was so mad, but out of respect, and I don't want to cause any drama, I hesitated and disappointedly went back inside. Though I could hear the noise, the shouting, and calling out of names from the balcony, it was too dark to really see what's happening from where I am. I can only see flashes of lights as they try to fend off the creature. It was almost a 10-minute commotion, and to my amusement, it really seems like they're onto something. When something settled, everyone back inside and they told me they know who the person was and only by calling its name. That the said Aswang stopped and went away. They revealed to me his identity, and I've been accustomed to almost everyone in the neighborhood, so I too know who they were talking about. They warned me not to talk to the person and make sure I greet them first whenever I cross paths with the old geezer. This is to ensure that I don't get enchanted, as it is believed that they have the power to do so and can cause some paranormal weird crap to you. Shelly, thank you for that super chat. Just sending some love. Thank you, Shelly. I really appreciate that. Hearts for Shelly, guys. Thank you, Shelly. You're awesome. One afternoon, almost sundown, I encountered the old dude on my way home, and me being curious and saw that the person seemed harmless, I intentionally let him greet me first. He was a nice old man, and I kind of pitied him as he's somewhat being avoided by the folks. I stopped by and talked to him a bit and got to know him more. When I arrived at my ex's place, I told them what happened, and to my amusement again, they were so pissed and scolded me. They told me how stupid I was and I should see a shaman to protect me for enchantments. I respectfully refused them, and I still went on to see the old geezer as a way of mocking them whenever I passed by him in the fields. It's been more than a decade ago, and to this day, I'm still amazed by how crazy that was. That was fun, though. I'm yet and still on a quest to find similar experiences in my home province and been intentionally staying at some friends' places on remote areas so I could really see one. Also, I was told that my great grandpa was somewhat of a menace to Aswans, and I have a story that comes along with it. It was kind of a little known town legend folk story. True or not, it is a nice little story I share to people as a conversation starter. That was a cool story. Let me see if I can find a few more. Give me a second, guys, because it looks like this one just stops. Oh, no, it doesn't. Hold on. Does it? Yeah, it just stops. Hold on. This one goes, and Aswang stalked me. All right, this one goes, and Aswang stalked me. An Aswang is a monster in Filipino mythology, which I read about, that preys on pregnant women. Unlike the grisly attacks usually shown in horror movies, however, these monsters apparently just prey on the life essence of the unborn baby until it dies and the mother miscarries. The scary part is that these monsters are also part human, meaning they could literally be anyone during the day. This happened in Metro Manila at around 2011. My cousin told me the old man with the new neighbors asked me if you were pregnant. I was shocked. I never ever told my family yet. I was 21 and worked nights in a call center. I never go outside when I'm home, and I was only a few weeks along, so I know I wasn't showing yet. How did this nosy old man know? The said neighbors were new in town, coming from one of the more popular provinces in the Philippines where witchcraft and aswangs are still the norm. They were friendly enough, though, so no one really had anything bad to say about them other than the nasty rumors that they know about aswangs. When I was about 8 months along, I was watching the late night TV with my brother at around 2 a.m. Something big landed on our tin roof, strong enough to rattle the windows. My brother and I looked at each other with wide eyes as we listened to the footsteps. Yes, footsteps. Stop right on top of me. I never I was never a prayerful person, but at that moment I called on gods and saints and angels to protect my baby. Then I remember my grandmother's story about how she escaped an Aswang attack by placing a pillow between her legs to mask the baby's scent, so I did just that. We had no idea how long we waited, seconds, minutes, but we heard another jump and then silence. Until this day, I was glad that my brother was with me to vouch for me. I still could not believe it happened, and it happened to me. Then I remembered the nosy old man. Could it have been him? Something weird and mysterious and unfinished, I supposed. That was a good story. That's scary. Jennifer Murray goes, "How do we know that the old guy, the geezer, wasn't just effing with them? So he could exactly." The guy, the boyfriend didn't fall for it. And then even with this story too, how could they could have just been messing with them too? My experience happened when I was 9 to 11 years old. My mom and two brothers, 7 and 2 at the time, slept in one bed. I woke up in the middle of the night. I sat up. I was holding a throw pillow, no blanket, and right eye was covered while my left eye was open. When what I saw shook me or shocked me. There was two women sitting on the bed. One I saw clear as day while the other was obstructed by my pillow. The woman had messy hair and the skin kind of wrinkly like a lizard and maybe gray in color. They were just sitting there, very still and not moving, but not staring at me. I slowly lied down on the bed. As I was already lying on the bed, they started to move close to me. I must have felt her skin because my foot felt something that was cold and had the soft texture of a diaper. I inched my way away from them, and they also inched their way closer to me. I kept moving away from them until I hit the corner wall. Our beds was in the corner of the room, and I thought to myself, I'm effed. Now I didn't have a blanket. All I had was the throw pillow. I used it to cover my face. What happened next freaked me out. I heard a weird sound while they were doing something to my hair. I don't know if they were running their hands through my hair, but the sound seemed to go with it. At the time, I thought they were biting my hair and letting it run through their teeth. That sound I heard is like a sound when you scratch your arm, but in a long, fast strokes. Then my mom must have slept talk because she yells out, "Get away from here, you bad spirits." Then it stopped. I mustered up all my courage to open my eyes and see that they weren't around. I saw my brother had a blanket on and I grabbed it. The blanket was wrapped tight around my brother. I pulled as much as I could and I only got about a foot of blanket to cover myself with. Now, this blanket was skin tight on me. I started praying to myself. Then the freakiness starts again. I feel hands feeling all over me, up and down my body, all the while hearing that scratching sound. I didn't sleep at all that night, and it felt like an eternity in the skin tight blanket. I was so relieved when morning came. I told my mom about it, and she didn't believe me, even though I was shaking from fear. The next night, I slept close to my mom, and that I wanted the lamp to be left on, but she didn't want to. Later on that night, we heard flapping sounds, really loud flapping sounds. There must have been two or three entities making those sounds. When the flapping stopped, my mom turned on the lights and told me to go to sleep with Grandpa because those flapping sounds could have come from oh my God, I'm going to butcher this, a manananggal. My grandpa's room scared me even more because his window was only covered by bamboo, and it's a big window. My grandpa tells me not to cover myself with a blanket and that I shouldn't be afraid and that I should yell back at it to leave me alone. As I was trying to go to sleep, I started to hear voices. I asked my grandpa if he heard it too, and he said no. The voice was that of a man whispering phrases over and over again. Tulag na maga bata. Tulag na maga bata, which literally translates to sleep now, children. Morning came, and my mom believed that I was afraid of at night. Nighttime always scared me. Every night, I'd wake up feeling cold and warm at the same time. There was this one time I felt something weird touching, biting my legs, like how you fold your lips over your teeth and try to bite yourself. I would get vivid nightmares and I'd be moving really, really slow in them. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with someone, maybe my brother, sleeping next to me, but when I turn on the flashlight I'm holding, they moved away. There was the one time my mom and I woke up in the middle of the night. The power had gone out. Our room is at the end of the hallway and we kept the door open all the time. Our bed is situated so that you could see down the hallway. Well, on this particular night, we heard a loud click. Someone or something turned on the gas range. I could see the fire flicker down the hallway. Next, we heard footsteps, dancing footsteps, as if there were people dancing to the fire. They accidentally knocked down a cup and they stopped for a while and then they started dancing again. My mom had the house blessed, but it still continued. And there was this one time when someone sleeping next to me sat up and immediately ran out of the room. I was thinking that the Aswang might have seen daylight and scurried out of the house, even though I didn't hear the front door or back door open and close. Another one was when one of my grandmas came to visit, and out of the blue, she asked me if I wanted a sleepover at her house. That was the only time I slept through the night until morning without interruption. My mom had a witch doctor check me out. The witch doctor told my mom to watch over me next week, Tuesday and Thursday, because they were going to take me away. Everyone in the house stayed up all night during Tuesday, but did nothing on Thursday, as nothing eventful happened on those dates. This happened for 2 years. The first year was rough. The second, not so much. I'd only wake up in the middle of the night when someone lay next to me and not be there in the morning. It wasn't until 8 years later my sister told me that an Aswang must have seen me and had a liking for me. Because we'd go rollerblading in a subdivision down the road from our house, it stopped when we returned to live in Guam. For my understanding, this Aswang might be a regular person, but with supernatural powers or something, and that her influences couldn't reach me from over 1,000 miles away. That is creepy. Heather Salvatore. Okay, peeps, we have to get together and make way better stories. It's on Reddit. Heather Salvatore. All right, guys. I am going to open it up to questions. So if you guys have any questions. Also, too, I forgot to mention Skeleduck is somewhere in this background. I usually mention it at the beginning of the stream, but I got carried away. Skeleduck is somewhere in this background. If you are new to the channel and don't know who or what or it or where Skeleduck is, he is pictured. Give me a second. He is pictured in my upper left hand corner. Could be your upper right hand corner. That is what he looks like, and I hide him in this background every stream. So I'll give you a few more minutes to look for him. Just remind me, right, if I'm ending the stream and I don't reveal his location, because sometimes I forget. Daniel goes, I think I see the duck's Aswan. Julissa wants to sing the witch doctor song. Heather, I think you got me. Bernadette got me the alien one. Heather Salvatore, I think you got me. You can't see it though because it's behind my chair. You got me the werewolf duck. But it's behind me. It's like it. I think I have it like right underneath the camera. Which I love. The were duck was so cool. I can't grab it from here. I would grab it, but it's way back there. It is that time of year again. Have any of you guys done anything spooky, like gone to a tour or attraction or seen any spooky movies? I've been kind of busy this week, so I haven't really done anything spooky. Though I celebrate spookiness all year round. And if you guys have any spooky stories, links, articles, I will share it. I know I got one from Jennifer Marie. I'll share it next time. And I got one from Brandon as well. So if you guys have one, I'll share it with the next stream. If you guys have a spooky story, a video, just make sure it's not a video from YouTube. If it's in because if I play a YouTube video, it'll flag the other person, and if that person's a dick, they might come and flag me for it. So I try not to use YouTube videos. But if you do have a video, personal story, an article, it could be aliens, whatever, paranormal, strange, please email me at graysonreport13@gmail.com. Bernadette has dropped it in the chat. and I may share it on my next stream or one of my streams. Daniel goes, have you ever done anything on Mount Shasta? No, I have not, Daniel. Julissa goes, I'm making my son's costume. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's not spooky, but it's a pain in the butt. What are you making them? That's kind of cool, actually. D Nice started watching True Blood. No, I mean, hey, it's about True Blood's about vampires. Heather Salvatore goes, I have children that are spooky. I think we all need to make a fake one for Reddit. Matthew goes, only say, I mean, if we have a flair for the pin, we can make an awesome story and post it on Reddit. Because some of those people, they don't have the talent of the pin. So Matthew goes, I only saw Salem's Lot so far. So many going live. I haven't had time to see anything except for YouTube videos of people going to haunted attractions. Daniel goes, the Lumineers, it's only 50 miles from me. Oh, cool. Also, too, guys, if you like house music or techno, which is kind of what I play right now, because I'm kind of still new. I am kind of a newbie when it comes to DJing. Bernadette has dropped my Twitch in the chat if you guys want to follow. I don't know. I might be going live tomorrow because I'm trying to get those hours in. But, and I do apologize. I don't talk as much because, like I said, I'm new to it. So I'm trying to like loosen up a bit, but I'm new to it. So I still kind of, I got to really like listen to the sounds and stuff. D Nice goes, it has Rogue and Cajun, so that's about as close to an Anna P. Rogue and Gambit I can get. Anna P. has a health condition. Daniel, thank you. You kicked ass. This girl rocks. DJ Greywolf, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Julissa goes, I'll definitely share pics on Telegram when I'm done. Please do so. That sounds pretty cool. That is actually kind of the best costume when you make it, especially when your mom makes it. So that's kind of cool, Julissa. I'm excited to see what you have in store. Even though it's not going to be spooky, I think it's cool. D Nice goes, that's why she skipped out on the last Fox X-Men movie. I did not know that. Plus Fox, I believe, is now Disney. So I don't get super excited when it comes to any of those movies anymore because Disney is just like I think the only thing, like I told you, I was watching the Destination of the Damned. I'm at the end of it. I do want to catch that other Menendez doc that's out. I still need to catch Salem Lot. I want to catch Teacup. Still need to see Pooh, Blood and Honey, Electric Boogaloo 2. Just to see what it's about. I know there's other ones that I can't think of right now that I know are coming out too, but I can't think of it right now. But I am so behind. Matthew goes, that was, yeah, I know. It was before Disney. D Nice, I did not know. She needs a cane now. I did not know. I had no idea. I think we all wanted to get bitten by a vampire at one point. Daniel goes, the Salem Lots have the kitty cats in it? No, I don't think so. But I didn't see the original one. So I don't know. D Nice goes, Pooh, Blood and Honey sounds like the story of the horrors of the time of the month. Well, the first one was like that. But I tried to give it a chance because I know it's a low budget. I heard that the second one has a better budget, so that's why I'm kind of and I've seen reviews where the people didn't like the first one, but they kind of liked the second one, and I didn't like the first one. But I try to give those a chance. But that first one was like it was a good idea, awesome idea, bad execution. It's like Mousetrap. If you guys want to check out Mousetrap and you have Peacock with the Steamboat Willie slasher killer, great idea. Great idea. It even caught me at the beginning. Like it got me in the beginning. Like I was like, "Oh crap, what's going on?" Bad execution. But you could but it's low budget too, so I can't, I can't fault them for that. Daniel goes, maybe I'm just thinking about Pet Cemetery. There's Pet Cemetery, Daniel, and there's also that one Cat Eye too, right? Cat. I haven't seen that one in a long time. Cat Eyes? With Drew Barrymore? I haven't seen that movie. I need to rewatch that movie. I have not seen that one. And Daniel, I need to see Cocaine Bear too. I have not seen that one. I think that one's still on Peacock, if I'm not mistaken. I need to rewatch Cat Eye with Drew Barrymore. Cat Eyes or Cat's Eye. There's also the one with there's another one too with cats. Forgot the name of it. Cat People. Cat People. But I don't remember that one. I know I've seen it, but I don't remember it. So I gotta that's another one I gotta rewatch. Daniel goes, that might be Cat People, Daniel. I'm just picturing a bunch of cats sitting in front of the house in the front yard. Or Sleepwalkers. That's another one. Thank you, Matthew, for reminding me. It might be Sleepwalkers. That's probably the one I'm thinking of because I don't remember Cat People. Bernadette goes, I still love watching I Married a Witch in 1942. Love black and white classic movies for Halloweens. Those are awesome too. With Vincent Price. Oh. Oh, I did not watch that movie. There was no way I was going to watch that movie, but yes, that is probably a horror movie in itself. The live action Cats. With Taylor Swift. No, I did not watch that. That looked horrific. So if you guys are looking for a horror Lisa Bugo's David Bowie's song was a good. Yeah, it was. I remember the song, but I don't remember the movie, so I got to put that on my list to rewatch it. I think I've seen it. I just don't remember it. It's like one of those movies where I saw it once and I never returned to it. And then when I start watching, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the one with this and this and this. Or if you're looking for something spooky, just look at a good old classic. I love watching the old horror movies. In fact, I like those better than some of the newer ones. Um, I like the practical effects that were used or the claymation that they used back then compared to what they do now. Yeah, some of them were cheesy, but I enjoy them more. Daniel goes, Cats is like a play. Yes, it is. It's like a musical. In some musicals, I'm like, it's horrific to me. I'm not a big fan of musicals because especially when you're watching a movie and they're doing laundry. I know I've said this before. They're doing laundry and they start going out in song. Does he love me? And they start singing and twirling around while they're doing their laundry, and I'm like, I liked Daniel. I did like Little Shop of Horrors though. So it depends on. I liked Hairspray, so it just depends on the musical. Bernadette goes, it's not a horror movie, but I had a crush on the devil played by Tim Curry in the movie Legend. I know I'm weird. Julissa goes, I love musicals, but Cats is the worst musical ever made. Daniel goes, Grease is my favorite. Grease is cool too. It just depends on the musical. You know what I mean? Like Grease was cool. Like I liked Grease. I liked Hairspray. I liked um Little Shop of Horrors. I grew up watching Shop of Horrors with Rick Moranis. I miss Rick Moranis in movies. Bernadette goes, I heard that as well. I heard Joker Filet Adieu is horrible. I was open to it. I love Joker. I love that. I love Joaquin Phoenix. He's an amazing actor. I also love Lady Gaga. Um, I became a fan of hers in I loved her music. I always loved her music, but I became a fan of hers like actor wise when I saw her in American Horror Story. I was like super impressed. And I also saw her in The Star is Born, and I love that movie. So I was all for it. I was like, you know what, dude, go for it. Something different. But I'm hearing like they erased, I don't know what happened. Like they erased something, they did this, they did that, or something. And like where it cancels out the first one or something. I don't know. That's what I'm hearing. So I don't know if I want to see it kind of. Matthew goes, Miss Rick too, semi-retired to watch his kids after his wife passed. Yes, that I heard, I know that as well, and that is kind of a valiant um that he left it all to take care of his kids, and I thought that was so super sweet. It shows you what type of person he is. Machete. Oh yeah, Lady Gaga's in Machete too. D Nice goes, just wait till it's on Max. That's pretty much what I've been doing lately with movies. Because a lot of the movies, especially horror, they tend to give away half the movie in the trailer. So I tend to wait for it to go on a streaming service that I might have. Unless it's something I really want to see, then I'll buy it on VOD. But usually I'll wait for it to come on a streaming service I have. Like Terrifier 3 is coming out probably tonight. You can probably start watching it. Comes out in theaters tomorrow. I know I've been seeing all the advertisements, like art is like pointing at Joker and going like this and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. Originally Terrifier was supposed to come out last weekend, but when Joker announced that was coming out on the 4th, they pushed it up to the 11th. So if you guys want to see Terrifier 3, again, the reviews are kind of where people are getting sick as in the theater or grossed out like in the second one, which I have the poster here. I watched the second one where they were saying that people were getting sick and throwing up in the theaters, and I felt like Hellraiser was grosser than Terrifier. So I don't get sick when I watch those films. I mean, it's great advertisement, don't get me wrong. They're smart to do that, but because it brings hype to the film. But I feel like the third one's probably going to be no different. It's going to be gross, but no different. Also, too, guys, I have Grayson Report merch if you guys are interested. I also forgot to announce that I do have merch. Because D Nice had mentioned I got to make Lewis one. But I do have DJ merch as well. And I can drop it in the link with my. I decided to make one for the hell of it. But I forgot to announce it when I was live. I was like, stupid me. I forgot to announce it. Hold on, let me get the. If you guys are interested in that as well. It's the same store, so it's gonna look kind of the same because it's from the same platform. Because I like those colors, so I'm gonna keep it with the colors. So it's gonna kind of look like my Grayson Report one because it's from the same platform, but it's different. And stupid me, like I said, I forgot to announce it when I was live yesterday. But here it is. Let me know if it works. I don't know why they put a 1 next to my name, but they did. Cause I'm not as concentrated when I'm on here, so I remember things. When I'm mixing, I'm concentrating, so I forget to say things. And I also have a command for it, so I could have just put the command, but I totally forgot. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. If you guys are interested in that, I bought myself a shirt too. So I'll be rocking it. And a beanie, because you know I love my beanies. But if you guys are interested, I do have Grayson Report merch as well as DJ merch if you guys are interested. And I dropped D Nice dropped the Grayson Report one in the link, and I dropped the DJ one because I forget when I'm mixing. I do apologize. I will try to talk more. I will eventually. I'll get the groove. And Daniel goes, I don't see slip mats. They don't have that as an option, but that would be cool, actually. I didn't think of that. All right, guys, real quick. Skeleduck, before I forget, he is, hold on. He's right there. He is right before Alien Duck. Or right behind Alien. What am I saying? Right before? Oh my god! Right behind Alien Duck. Right on where my finger's pointing. He's on my right side. Might be on your left side of the screen. Right next to the Monster Mash cereal that I got last year that I kept in the box because I'm that crazy. Because it has the Monster Mash cereal box that it's sitting next to has a Franken girl DJing, so I had to get it. But he is right there. The DJ Lab, what is up? How's it going? All right, guys. Any last minute questions before I end this stream? And if you guys also like DJ things, check out the DJ Lab. He has a cool channel here on YouTube where he talks about equipment. He does mixes as well. Daniel's asking, when am I going to go live again? I might go tomorrow, Daniel. I might. I'm not sure. I don't have a schedule yet. I need to do a schedule. Thank you, Bernadette. Thank you, Lisa Boo. But Daniel, it's gonna be on my channel this time. I don't know if you're subbed to my my channel. I won't be on Lewis's. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Slayer Selection. Thanks for the entertainment. Thank you, Shelly. All right, guys. Thank you, guys. I want to appreciate you for joining me tonight on this edition of Grayson Report. We talked a little about the Menendez brothers, and then we got into the Aswang, the Filipino folklore, which I know I always say this when I talk about these cryptids or folklores. I always say this is the worst. This one is the worst. If you missed out, check it on the replay. I will see you guys on the next one. I don't know if I'm going to be on Saturday. If not, I will see you guys on the next one, which will be Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there, be squared, and stay spooky and sweet nightmares, guys. Good night, guys. And thank you again. You guys are awesome. Have a great rest of your week and a great weekend if I don't see you then. Good night, guys.